termination of an agency relationship. So we talked about that a little bit before, but let's go much more in depth. We generally talked about when would it be terminated automatically or with notice, all that good stuff. But let's dive into more specifics and examples. I know you love examples. I love examples. They're the best way to learn. Really, if I could just rant at you all these different things to memorize. But really, with examples, we see what we're going to see on the exam. Now, terminating an agency relationship involves ending the legal relationship between the principal and the agent. Both parties have the power to terminate the relationship. I can quit my job or I can get fired by the employer, but this power does not necessarily equate to the right to terminate. So I can fire someone, but I might not have the right to do so. I mean, obviously that depends on a lot of different laws and points that we will see here. The right to terminate depends on the terms of the agency agreement and the specific circumstances. First off, we've got the power to terminate. Both the principal and the agent have the power to terminate the agency relationship at any time. So either can choose to end the relationship by providing notice to the other party, subject to the terms of the agency agreement. An example of this being Sarah hires Mark as her real estate agent to sell her house. Sarah later decides to take her house off the market and informs Mark she is no longer requiring his services. In this case, Sarah has exercised her power to terminate the agency relationship. Probably a much more common example for those of you who are homeowners. I myself will probably never own a home at this rate, but that is my own issue to deal with. Next up, the right to terminate. The power to terminate does not always equal the right to terminate, as we talked about. The right to terminate depends on the terms of the agency agreement and the specific circumstances. If either party terminates the relationship without proper cause or without following the terms of the agreement, then there may be a breach of contract and someone could be held liable for damages. Now, in this example, John hires Lisa as his agent to represent him in a 6-month marketing contract. After 2 months, John decides to terminate the contract without a valid reason. In this case, John may not have the right to terminate Lisa, so Lisa could potentially sue for a breach of contract. A lot of other situations. These are the general rules to follow, but an example in the exam could throw a lot of other factors to consider in. Let's talk about agency coupled with interest. When an agency is coupled with an interest, the principal generally does not have the power to terminate the relationship. This type of agency is created when the agent has a financial or property interest in the subject matter of the agency. In such cases, only the agent has the power to terminate the relationship. And let's see an example dealing with this here. Mary grants a loan to Paul and hires him as her agent to manage a property she owns as security for the loan. All right, so just, again, I'll read this again just to make sure it's clear. Mary grants a loan to Paul, and she hires him as her agent to manage a property she owns as security for the loan. So you see this intermingled interest. We got interest here. In this case, the agency relationship is coupled with interest, and Mary cannot terminate the relationship until the loan is repaid. This might be one you are not familiar with, just whereas the normal real estate agent one, that's a much more straightforward example. This is one that you just, again, may not have seen in the past. And we see here agency power as security for the agent. In cases where an agency is coupled with interest, the agency power serves as security for the agent. This ensures that the agent has the power to act on the principal's behalf until their interest in the subject matter is satisfied. Now, continuing with that previous example, Paul's agency power serves as security for his loan from Mary. As long as the loan is outstanding, Paul can contribute to manage the property on Mary's behalf. Paul can continue to manage the property on Mary's behalf. Now, in conclusion here, while both parties generally have the power to terminate an agency relationship, the right to terminate depends on the terms of the agreement and the specific circumstances. Now, in cases where the agency is coupled with an interest, the principal typically does not have the power to terminate, and the agency power serves as security for the. Making sure we're familiar here. Take a look again as needed. Keep powering through. You got this. Stretch as you need. Have some coffee. Let's keep going. Let's run through an example as we love our examples. First, we're going to see that there's going to be 3 wrong answers, 1 right answer, just like a multiple choice question. Spark Corp terminated Jane as its general marketing agent and notified all of Jane's known clients via email. Blue Inc., a company located outside of Jane's previously assigned marketing territory, had never worked with Jane, but was aware of her through various business connections. Now, after her termination, Jane entered into a marketing contract with Blue Inc., promising that Spark, the original principal, would provide marketing services. Blue paid a 25% deposit of the contract's total value to Jane, which was a common practice for agents in Jane's previous position. In a lawsuit between Blue Inc. and Spark Corp over the marketing contract, Blue Inc. will do what? Will they win or lose? Now, just as a note, again, Jane would probably get someone coming after her because she was notified of her termination, presumably. and she went ahead and entered into a relationship with a new client. That is something that would be very illegal, not allowed. But initially, it looks like Blue went ahead and sued Spark. What's going to happen? Will Blue win or lose, and then why? Very standard way you could see questions asked here. Are you going to win or lose, and then why? Now, although Spark Corporation informed Jane's known clients of her termination, some courts might require additional notice, such as a public announcement to terminate Jane's apparent authority with respect to parties like Blue who knew of Jane through other means. And that's kind of the rationale, that's the reasoning for the answer here. And what is the answer? And you probably have saw it already because it's displayed right here properly for you. Now, Blue is going to win because Spark, the principal, their notice was inadequate to terminate Jane's apparent authority. With something like this is just how the textbook works. Now, as we see, it says some courts might require additional notice. How does this work in the real world, in real life? We don't care. It doesn't really matter. All we want to know is how it works for the purposes of the exam, for textbook. And let's just look at the other ones. Let's look at the other possibilities and let's see. Will they win because a principal is an insurer of an agent's acts? No, that's not the case. The principal is not an insurer of an agent's acts. And would they lose? Well, because Jane lacked any express or implicit authority to make the contract? Well, nope, they would not lose because of these cases. It was generally implied that Jane could do this, but again, Jane didn't work there because she was terminated. Now, although Jane lacked express authority, a court might find that she had apparent authority since Spark Corp had previously held Jane out as its agent, making it clear that Jane works for us. Now it's no longer. A principal is not an insurer of an agent's acts. A principal is liable only when the agent acts with authority. A couple different points. It's just as important to read the explanations and the reasons for why the wrong answers are wrong as it is why the correct answer is correct. Very good. We are seeing what we're going to see on the exam. Let's keep running through, powering through, and having a good time. Hey there. Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.